Hello, and these are a bit of a departure for me, at least in terms of date. Early Germans. Of course, you know, a lot of my armies are basically Germanic of one sort or another, but these are early Germans. I don't know why I bought these forged in battle figures a long time ago, seemingly, as it seems to me anyway, and half painted them, actually somewhere between a third and a half, and then put them aside and almost forgot about them really. But recently, having finished my Romans and Huns, I had this great urge to do something. Well, I got heavily impressed by the thought of doing some Goths. So while I was sort of interrogating myself and trying to decide whether it was a genuine thing and whether I really, wasn't just wanting to add to my mountain of unpainted metal, or whether, it really was something that I would follow through with, I went back to these early Germans and painted them. They're not all. What I've discovered was, having based them, I realised that actually I hadn't quite done the final things that I would usually do to the third, or between third and half, that I originally painted. So some of them are a bit unfinished actually. They're not quite the usual standard, but I'm accepting them, partly because, frankly, I don't really know why I've wanted an early German army at all. I can't remember why I bought them originally. I don't have Romans of that period to fight them. I can, they can stand in. My late Romans or Roman British army can stand in for them. But these are going to be a bit of an anomaly. Anyway, I'm quite pleased with them. They were fun to paint, I must say. They've got a sort of a angular energy to them, these forged in battle. Well, the Goths that have arrived now don't have quite the same quality. They're a different sort, and actually I'm having to do a lot of cleaning up on them. I have to warn you, if you are interested in getting a Goth army. They're good though. I think they're going to be fine. Actually, initially I painted this base of, I don't know really what these were. These are sort of an end of Byzantine and Gothic Lurkio, and out of desperation, before I went on to the early Germans, I painted these up as a stand of. It could be somebody like Stilicho, or maybe even Aetius, or somebody who had a bit of a foot in both camps, the Roman and the so-called barbarian, for the sort of late Roman period, the 500s. Heavy reliance on green and red in their coloration, which was a Gothic favourite, apparently Visigothic. So, and actually it sort of refers to, there's an illustration by, I think probably Peter Dennis was one of those illustrators in the book, the Osprey book on the Catalonian fields, or the Battle of Chalons, of those, by, for those of us who knew JFC Fuller's decisive battles of the Western world, or the Cressy on the other hand. Anyway, that huge battle between the Huns and the Romans, with a lot of Goths thrown in on both sides, there's an illustration in their Osprey coverage of it, of the Goths, the Visigoths on the hill, about to charge, being sort of encouraged by Thresmund, I think his name was, their leader, their king, who was killed in the battle, but he led them down and charged into Attila's left, and that was the decisive action. And I was kind of caught up by that illustration. That's partly what made me want to paint and order some Goths in the end. And these are sort of painted a bit as if out of that illustration, I guess. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing, early Germans and that stand. And then also before that, or actually no, during that at some point, I painted these, also forged in battle. Gosh, they're looking very red against the green and in this light. But forged in battle, Roman town for 15mm. And I just fancied having this and being able to use it as something that could be part of an action, that could be a decisive thing to do a sacking of, potentially, or defending of. Anyway, they're quite nice. They are not quite vertical, some of these buildings, and to straighten them would mean either adding and that being very fiddly, or cutting away at the base, and I didn't want to do either of those things because you would lose detail in the latter. So I just painted them as is. They're quite nicely detailed, and they give just a sense of, a town in the distance, I suppose. I don't put a great deal of effort into terrain. So, I'm a bit lazy in that department. So this actually seemed like a lot of surface area to me to paint. It was like, painting and decorating your home. What a huge effort it always seems to be, and this is a bit like that. I happily paint horses, endlessly, actually. But doing stuff like this, terrain, it's just so big always relative to figures. Anyway, so that's where I'm at, and I'm hoping to do another one, which is a 28mm building one, actually coming up soon, and some more tutorials. They're not tutorials really, but just some indications of helpful ideas from fine art painting, basically. So there it is. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe if you will. See you again soon. Bye.